All right, all right. Good afternoon, my friends. Here we are, 12 o'clock. We're running a little behind schedule, but I got my partner Brad on the other side. We're about to bring him on. So welcome, welcome. We do get together here 3 times a week, but specifically on Friday and Monday, we talk about the masterclass that we are holding on Wednesday. So on Friday, we do the recap. On Monday, we do kind of the forecast, pulling back the curtain, showing you what we're going to be talking about. We're sharing what we're going to be talking about on the masterclass on Wednesday, which is held on Zoom, and it is by invitation. So if you're interested in joining, by all means, just you can either message us on any of the apps that you're seeing this video on, or you can also go to Brad Korn, find Coach Brad Korn on Facebook, or Tony Rodriguez on Facebook, and the link will be posted there for the Zoom call. Of course, you can message us and we can give it to you directly. So without further ado, I got Brad just kind of gearing up to have that conversation. So Brad, you ready? Give me a thumbs up, buddy. Bring you right in. All right, here we go. Brad is in the house. So thanks for joining us.
How you doing?
It's Brad and his cartoon version of himself. We got 2 Brads today. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah, I don't have my background today. I didn't make it over to my other computer.
No worries. I got to figure out if I'm going to keep the Spartan helmet in the back or if I'm going to take it out as well, because somebody said the other day, it's kind of freaky back there. So maybe I'll take that out of there. Just a reminder. It's a bit of a reminder anyway of just, how we, every day we're out there, we're doing battle, so to speak. In the arena or the Coliseum of business. So I was just telling everybody how today on Mondays we do the forecast of what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday for our Relationship Revolution Masterclass. So
yeah. So we've been coming up. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. So what do we have upcoming? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so really there's like 19 hours of content that I've pulled out of the book, The E-Myth Real Estate Agent, that I co-authored with Michael Gerber. And basically I've got those 19 hours and basically my over 30 years of systematizing my real estate business to sell 100 homes a year. And it's really the average person getting started in this within a year is probably going to be closing 50 or 60 deals a year. With systems, you don't need a big team of people. Like, keep some of the profit, keep some of the money, get the thing systematized, and then start leveraging so that you can keep the thing running when you do step away. So that's kind of what we've been talking about. And we've covered so far, it starts with the master list and the connections. And so many real estate agents out there are complaining about crappy leads. They're having to give away half their commissions or whatever it is, on average about half their commission split on top of whatever their company split is to get these leads. And then they just say they're crappy leads. They ghost me. They don't call. And you all have a list of people right now that already know you, like you, trust you, that do answer your phone more often than a stranger will. And I only said, we talked about this on Friday. And it is the fact that even people, that if your last call to them, which probably was a year or 2 or 3 ago, right? Talking about looking at your database from A to Z, how many of those people, just look at every single name, and how many of those people have heard your voice in the last 30 days, 60 days, right? So, but also if your last call to them was, hey, who do you know is buying or selling real estate? They're probably not going to take your call, even though they know you. And you got them, you're in their phone, but they know you're probably calling asking about real estate. So if you can kind of just, if you could just get comfortable removing that, I am telling you, they know you're a real estate agent, or they will know you're a real estate agent if you're following this process. And if they are doing real estate, they will bring it up. You don't have to. So it's about connecting first. Getting into a relationship, like let them do the talking, let them tell you what's going on in their life when you catch up. And it's going to suck. It's going to suck big time the first round, because you haven't talked to them in a year or 2 or 3 or longer. So you're going to be stuck on the phone with them if you let them do all the talking to tell you what's going on in their life, you're going to be on the phone with them for 20, 30, sometimes 40 minutes. That's your fault, man. It's not your problem. It's your fault for not staying in touch. And you would have had to do that at some point anyway. So why not start today? So that's kind of what we've been going through so far, is talking about that. And even as we move through these sessions now, we're starting to get into those detailed systems that once you make this call, how do you make sure you wrote everyone a note? Well, because when you get them in your master list, you've got your name and you found a phone number and you found an address, you open your notebook up, that's going to be your working list every day to call people that you have an address and a phone number for. And if you bank a good 100 or so in there, you'll always have people to call, always. And when they do answer, you don't have to ask for their address. You just say, hey, you still on XYZ Street? Because you got it right there. You're only calling the people that you got a phone number and an address for. The main reason why is so you can send them one of these, right? Handwritten note. This gentleman right here has been, I don't know if you've met James Smith yet. He's like a real estate tycoon, entrepreneur, really, really raw. You would love him, Tony. Oh my gosh. I went to the Life Surge event, came through Kansas City. It's got like Tim Tebow's in there. It's kind of the Christian business conference, and it was at the big Sprint Center downtown. So I went and, of course, met Tim Tebow and met Willie from Duck Dynasty. Got my pictures taken with them and all that fun stuff. I like meeting celebrities. You know, you're the average of the 6 people you hang around, 5 or 6 people you hang around, right, Tony?
That's right.
So you hang around them. You do. I mean, whatever. I got to buy a $200 VIP ticket, but I get a picture with them. That means you're meeting them. So I spend the $200 all day long. Anyway, so in that conference, though, James came out. I was really blown away that I haven't seen him or met him before, but he is so raw. It is kind of it's a Christian-based business conference. So he was so funny. Tony, guy, you would just love him, because he was on stage. He was like, listen, I don't care if you like me or not. They didn't put me on the bill so that you wouldn't know that I was going to be talking. But if I'm talking to you and you don't like me, it's not me. It's the demons inside that are telling you that. It's the demons in your body, right? That's not me. Yeah, you're going to have to use that one. And then there was another gal on there that was the first woman in charge of like a major aviation plane company. And this is what I want to bring to the relationship revolution. What I picked up from that is she said, when you're a flight attendant and a pilot on an airline, they talk about souls. If there's an issue going on and something's happening and it's not going well and they're not sure how it's going to turn out, the first question they ask is how many souls are on board. And Tony, I'm going to ask you this. I don't know if you've heard it put that way before, but how many souls are in your database? And those souls are people that are living in your community. Those souls are neighbors. Those souls are people that are at the library. You see them at restaurants. You see them in the grocery store. How many souls in your community are in your database and you haven't talked to them in 30 or 60 days? Man, that one hit me hard. And then James, this guy, he's talked about, he's like, yeah, and I write notes to everyone. You know, nobody writes notes anymore. And I'm like, no, but the relationship revolution people do. They write a lot more notes than they did before they got plugged into this conversation.
Love it. Love it.
So, yeah. So, no, we just keep processing through these different, all these hours of content and what we're covering. So we're starting to get into more like the systems and stuff. I think, Tony, we're like through like what I would call either hour 9 or hour 10 or week 9 or week 10, whatever that is. It's about an hour's worth of content if I were to stand up in a classroom and go through it. So we're kind of like on session around 9 or 10. And in 9, it's talking about setting up the transaction system. So first of all, let me come back, because what we've covered so far and what you'll hear over and over and over again is the system set up to 1, feed your database every day. 2, communicate with it systematically so it reminds you to stay in touch, right? And then 3, service all the leads that come your way. So first of all, you got to have a database. You got to feed it every day, 5 a day, every day. And that's 5 connections out of your master list that you had a phone number and an address. You called, you let them do all the talking, felt like a waste of time, but you only did it with 5. So if it's 20 to 30 minutes, this is maybe about a 2-hour process, okay, of your day. You're not spending the 2 hours doing lead generation anyway. So why not do it with something where you can just talk to people who already know you and reconnect? Because that's where the magic's going to come out of it. And you're going to get a 6, 7, 8 times return. That's from a study that was done, right? I would say 10x because that always sounds cool. But the study actually showed that you're going to get 2 pieces of business for every 12 people that you do this with, connect with. And 1, they're going to do business with you. And 2, they're going to refer you somebody. So only like 1 referral per person, and keeping in mind that people only move every 5 to 10 years. So you're only going to get that for every 12 people. You're going to get 1 piece of business somewhere in the next 5 to 10 years. And you're going to get 1 referral somewhere in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's kind of, we've talked about this on several of the calls. It's like, so that script, hey, do you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell real estate? Well, first of all, that call comes out of left field. They haven't talked to you in a while. They weren't thinking about anybody that was moving. So their answer 99.9% of the time is going to be, well, no, I can't think of anybody right now. Or are you buying or selling? That came out of left field. They haven't been thinking about buying or selling. There may be one of the people moving in the next 5 to 10 years, but then we throw that extra piece on there. I jumped it around. Now we say, well, do you know anybody else that is? Again, they haven't talked to you in a year and you're just calling them out of the blue, asking for a referral. If the average person is moving every 5 to 10 years, you realize that if they were around 100 people and they just happened to go around at that party, if you were at my Easter egg hunt last night, right? And I walked around that party and I asked everybody, hey, you moving? Now, this is not a real estate agent. This is the person that you're calling asking for a referral. I'm hoping that party they went to last night, they talked to 100 people and they asked them if they were moving, because my realtor's probably going to call me out of the blue any day and ask me if I know anybody that's moving. I want to refer them because they're good. I like them, right? I mean, it's not going to happen.
Nobody does that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. So when you think of what, and see, I went through everything that you're doing right now. I've gone through it and I was frustrated. I was like, well, this just seems like we are wasting, like they're just trying to keep us busy, so that when we do come across a deal or two and close 1 or 2 deals a month, or, some people are closing 5 to 10 deals in a year, dude, like that is not a living. And that is so random. When we did cold calling nights, I would actually I would find the listing that just went on the market last night. And I would call that street on both sides and say, hey, did you see your neighbor? You see what your neighbors did? Right. And it was just, it wasn't any better way of doing it, but it definitely did stack the cards in my favor a little more. I got to talk to more people because they were curious, right? They saw that sign out in the yard this morning. So now as we move through here,
you said no call because they're going to call the realtor, but they don't really want to call the realtor because now the realtor is going to start calling them. So in a way, it's you're giving them information, you're adding value. So basically, it's coming all back to that, is when you're having a conversation with someone, A, just make the connection, or B, just be adding value all the time. Stop asking. You can't, this is something you and I have spoken about on the show. The other show that we do is you can't keep trying to make withdrawals from places you haven't made deposits, right? And those deposits are in your relationship. If you don't have a relationship with someone, then don't call them and ask them for something. Honestly, it's annoying to me when I haven't spoken to somebody for a while. And, obviously if it's somebody that's a good friend or a close friend, that we haven't spoken for a while, it's one thing. But if it's somebody that I just know, but randomly we're not that close, and they just, whenever they call me, you already know, somebody calls you like, what does this person want now? Because they're going to ask you for something, right? They're calling for a reason. So Don't be that person. Don't be that person.
Yeah. So here's what's coming up on Wednesday's call. We didn't quite make it to 9 last week, and 9 is where we actually start talking about how do you keep clients informed during a transaction. So once you got the list and you call and you connect, you're taking that person off the notebook, and now you're getting them in your database. Or if they're already there, you're starting a campaign, a little 8-step program that says, Did you send a note? Send the handwritten note. It's actually a task that shows up on my dashboard of my database. And until I write that note, that's there. In fact, I got to get that note written immediately right after the phone call. And you'll build that habit over time to where you will make sure you've got these notes done, because they're short and quick. They're just like, hey, it was great catching up. Super glad you answered the phone. It's great to hear how the family's doing. Look forward to keeping in touch, Brad. That's it. It's not, you're not selling anything. You're not don't put a business card in there. Do not use I, me, or my. So that system, though, then will say 7 days later, send them a text, right? And so that text says, or it could be an automated one. This one could be, and it could automatically say, it's like, hey, it was really great catching up you last week. So now think about what's happened. Well, actually, let me go further. So 7 days after that, so we're 14 days after the phone call and you've dropped the note in the mail. Now something goes in the mail, right? And that just shows up, just anything. It could just be just a generic letter of something. It doesn't matter. The next thing is another phone call, week 4. So what happens when this plays out and this system is running? And so a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the road, you're really not thinking about this person again. They are about to become that person they are right now today for you, that you haven't talked to them again in a year or two because you made the call and you wrote the note. That alone will double your business though, Tony. So once they get that note and then that text message shows up and says, it really was great connecting with you last week. What you've done is they heard your voice. They've received the note that feels good. And now they see your text message that says it was great connecting. And they've gotten the note since then. So they actually might even text back and go, yeah, you too. Right. And hopefully you've got them saved in your phone. But when that phone call comes up 2 weeks after that text, they answer the phone. Right. It is so awesome because then now they want to physically tell you, I got your note in the mail. That was so great. Yeah. How many times do we hear people talking about notes, Tony, on our call with random people around the country when they get their note from me?
Yeah, it's cool. But I want to highlight something before you go too far away from it.
Yeah.
The note shouldn't have the I, me, or my, because you went really fast through it. But it's really important because it's not about you. It's about them. It's about you adding value. And it's not about, what you want, what you need, what you're looking for, why you're so good, why you're so. Stop. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Right. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. And to your point is getting into because it's already happened with me, getting into the habit of writing that quick one sentence note on the spot, because it'll be that one pivotal thing that you had a conversation with them. Hey, it was really good to hear about you and the kids, and off to college. That's amazing, but whatever that is, because if you wait to do them at the end of the night, I'm like, crap. Okay, was it Brad that's got the kid that's going to college, or was it Ed, or maybe it was Beth? Damn it, which one? And the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to mess it up. Like, hey, congratulations on getting a new puppy, and you sent that message to the one who just lost his dog or something, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I mean, obviously that's a corny example, but just to highlight to the point that you said.
So here's a cool way that this is structured, Tony. Like now, when we're getting into hour 9, we're about halfway through the content. Right now, we start building these campaigns, but you didn't need them until now. So when somebody's going through this, we would have spent the last 2 months just focusing on getting you to freaking do the master list and to get to writing some notes. And most people that go through this haven't even started. They're just now maybe starting to get the note written, or a few notes written a day, but they're not at 5. You got to build this habit up that if you did it from day one, because I know exactly how long it takes to see the results. If you do 5 a day every day and you call 5 people, you write 5 notes and you put them in the database and you get that going, within this time of the frame, you've got about 30 more days and your phone's going to start ringing with some business. So I love what you said, because if you have not developed the habit of doing the notes by now, it's about to become nothing for you. Like you're going to lose control and not do this. And then you're going to go back to your old ways of going back to 3 and 4 sales a year or a month, or whatever it is. But if you by now you're starting to get those notes written just a little more consistently in the next 30 days, if you get those nailed, now you're going to need the systems, because the phone rings and somebody says, hey, we're ready to come list our house. The good news is You don't need these systems yet to completely rely on, because you haven't even done this in your world. You're not a system-driven business yet. You're still a person-driven business. So the next 3 to 6 months, if you're writing the notes, the phone will start to ring. I know you're going to be able to naturally keep up with the 1 or 2 a month that you're going to have after about 3 to 6 months of doing this. But that's also where I want you to understand how to document. And we actually talk about this on the next call. We are talking about creating your perfect system from the time I list a house until it sells, from the time I start working with a buyer till they find a house and they write a contract, from the time that contract is accepted until it closes. We start developing those systems. And what's so cool about the way this turned out, the way it is written and delivered, is exactly what I went through, where I got the shell of my system created on what I knew needed to be done. You're basically taking your checklist, or however you're doing stuff now. You might have a TC who's got your checklist. You're going to need your TC's checklist, because you need it to run through your system and have a system-driven business, not a TC-driven business, because that TC could leave someday. And Tony, you and I say, I've heard you say this, if my TC left today, I'd be toast, right? I wouldn't even know what to fill in on the contract. And that's just normal. That's not bad on you, man. You've got over 30 years experience. Of course you could do it. You just have to find the blanks, and contracts look a little different than they did, 35, 40 years ago for you?
Yeah. In many ways, easier to do real estate, a lot easier to do real estate. And in some ways, it could be, depending if you're used to doing it, you're good on tech or not on tech, it could be also more difficult. But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation with how real estate's changed in 35, 36 years.
Yeah. So this Wednesday, we're going to be talking about how to create that perfect list, how to track everything that you're doing to create a system so that when you hire talent, right? Everybody wants to hire somebody talented. Well, when you hire talent, they still don't know how you do things, and they weren't doing your real estate role for as long as you have. So you don't want to necessarily bring in somebody to create a whole new system. You want to keep delivering what your customers and clients love about you. So you are going to track everything. And it's like you're going to get to the point where you like leave your body and you're a human soul, and there's a real estate transaction happening. And even though you as the soul knows how to do all this stuff, you're going to let it remind you and tell you what you're doing. And right. You'll really appreciate it on the crazy days when you actually get 2 listings in one day, right? Or 3 listings in one day. When that stuff happens, dude, I go to my checklist. I already know what I'm doing. And again, if it pops up on the checklist and I've already done it because it was so natural for me, I'm already checking 3 things off because I just do them naturally, because I do this 100 times a year for over 20 something years, right? So, yeah. But it's got to be documented so that nothing gets missed. And so I'll go back. And this is what we're going to be covering next, is how to create these systems. And then what will continue that conversation on how to get them into your database and turn them on, because eventually you're going to have to rely on your dashboard of your database to tell you what to do every single day. It's going to tell you who to call, who to text, who to get ready for closing, who to forward a copy of the contract to for the lender and the title company, all that stuff that you try and do naturally or that somebody else is doing for you. Right. So I have a TC and her name's in front of all that administrative stuff, but I see it come through. I can check those boxes and send them to her. And she goes, yep, they're all done. And they're all gone. Now I know they're done. And it's not me micromanaging or anything, because it's just her saying they're done. She actually checks her stuff off and I check my stuff off, and nothing's sitting in the queue waiting to go. Also, it's kind of cool until you really get busy. Honestly, a transaction takes about 10 total hours, 10 hours to do, from the time I list a house until it closes, getting with the seller to do a price change, maybe doing an open house, whatever, get the contract, getting to closing, setting up the appraisal, meeting the appraiser, whatever that is, it's about 10 hours. Same with buyer. From the time I show them houses, I might have 3 hours of showings total in there before they find a house, because I have a system for that as well, to get them to buy quicker, not go show them 50 houses. So I got 3 hours into that. By the time they write a contract, getting copies around, doing all that stuff, 10 hours. It's 10 hours, man. It is 10 hours. So once you do that and you figure these systems out and you got them running and you got them down to the perfect 10-hour process, now when I'm closing 3 deals a month, guys, that is 30 hours a month. What the heck is happening to your days and your weeks and your months and your years, right? It's only 30 hours of work. And if you've got a TC, they've taken 20 of those hours off your plate. So
I've got to just jump in and say it all depends, because I know that you drive really far for some listings and some sales and everything else. So it depends on how far you're driving. It depends on whether you're going, because again, an open a home inspection can take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours or longer. So there are a lot of variables. So I'm just saying that out loud for the people that are saying, no way, 10 hours. Yeah, you can have some transactions that are 20, 30, 40 hours, 100%, some that are even longer, depending on how effective and efficient you are and how good your systems are. Because the less systems you have, the longer it's going to take and the harder it is. So
we're going to show you the 10-hour system. We're going to show you the 10-hour system.
Yeah, I was going to say, so join us on Wednesday to create these systems so that we can make it, we can take you from A to Z a whole lot quicker, from the beginning of the transaction to the end of the transaction and all the management that goes in between. So join us. We're not going to, otherwise this is going to be the masterclass if we keep going. So
that was it. There's heavy duty crap starting to hit the plate now. So yeah, it's going to be some good stuff.
So join us on Wednesday. We'll talk about what systems to use, which ones may be better, what are some of the tools that are going to help you out, and we'll get that system started. So join us on Wednesday. Invite your friends, especially if they're in real estate, mortgages, title, whatever, anything to do with real estate. But again, remember that depending on, obviously, if you're selling, widgets, or you're selling something small, trinkets and stuff, this is not going to work. This system isn't going to work for you, because you're not going to be following up with someone so that they can make that $4 purchase from you every month. However, if it's a significant purchase, whether you're in financial planning, whether you're in insurance, whether you're life insurance, you're in investments, whether you're in, heck, even car sales or, things of that nature, stay in touch, stay connected. This is the way to do it. So join us on Wednesday at 11:30 Eastern. Hit us up. Look us up, and you'll find that Zoom link. So look forward to seeing you all there.
Thanks for joining us on today, Tony.
Yeah. Don't go away yet, Brad.
Yep.
Have a great week, everyone. See you Wednesday.